Today we're talking about the M-Audio Hammer 88, the best fully weighted keyboard for producing music. Welcome back, my old subscribers. Today we're going back to the music theme, and I'm happy to give you my long-term impressions on the M-Audio Hammer 88. So thanks for joining me again. I love talking about music. Music is my passion. Whenever I'm doing other things other than music for a while, I kind of forget about it. But then the moment I sit down and play something, it reminds me how much that's within me and how much that passion is actually there. And it makes me wonder why I'm not playing more. So I'm happy to share my passion with you all. I know there's a lot of musicians out there, obviously all kinds of instruments, but today I want to talk about music producing through Logic Pro on a laptop or other software you may be using to make music. Now, just like when I talk about camera gear, there's a lot of options for everything, and it's tireless to be looking at all kinds of reviews on YouTube and online, trying to figure out what's the right keyboard, what's the right music instrument library. So I've been at this for around 2 years now. I mean, this is like a world where you learn on your own, unless there's someone to teach you, obviously. But for the most part, if you're doing this at home for your own benefit, to make your own music, you're basically learning on your own. And it's really trial and error, just like anything else. So I'm happy to share information on this keyboard because it's taken me a while to build up to this. And after 2 years of producing music, and I don't play anything techie, I'm very classical and romantic, period inclined. So a lot of my songs are more of the ballads and romantic music, basically. So if you've seen my channel, my other videos, you've seen that I've reviewed, I actually started with a Korg Micro Air. I think that's what it's called. I haven't used it in a while. It's basically a Bluetooth keyboard, 49 keys. They're not even full-sized, semi-weighted, kind of aftertouch, all that cool stuff. I'll put that video up here. I'm sure a lot of you have seen that one. I started with that because it was very portable. I could use it with my iPad, and I was used to using GarageBand on the iPad. I had never used it on the computer or Logic on the computer. So that was a good starting point for me because it was just for jamming, just like little tunes I could think of. I then progressed to the Native Instruments 49. That's a 49 key keyboard, full-sized keys, semi-weighted. Again, great keyboard. I have another video. Go ahead and watch that. That's a great keyboard to keep space. If you don't have that much space, it's very condensed. Tons of features for looping, for all types of stuff you want to program. I would recommend that one if you're really into using basically all the functions that Logic offers with each instrument. However, I'm a pianist at heart, a die-hard pianist, and I learned playing on actual pianos, like wooden pianos, grand pianos, all those types. And I really missed the range, first of all, the 88 key range. And second, I missed the actual weight, the feel of a piano. And so the more I started producing music, the more I missed it. And then I started doing more research, and I ended up here, and a lot of people have recommended this one as the best keyboard for the pianist-driven musician. And so this keyboard is fully weighted keys, full-sized keys, full 88 keys that you want from a piano. And so let's go through a couple of highlights, and then I'll show you how it's been working out for me. So first of all, why 88 keys? I mean, the smaller keyboards let you jump from octaves really easily, so it's not that big of a deal for people that are playing within a certain range. However, as a pianist, and I'm used to playing on the full range, I had been struggling to press. I know it's just a button, but jumping from an octave to another octave. Some instruments aren't all in one area. So some instruments might be in the higher range, the lower end. So 88 keys really gives you that ability to not have that additional step of moving from octaves. Number 2, weighted keys. Why is this a big deal? It gives you the real piano feel. It doesn't feel like a toy. It has the weight so that when you press it, you can really control your velocity, your volume. It makes it just a little bit more dynamic. And I know this is an electronic type keyboard. It's not a real piano, but this, I think it's really, really close and I love it. It just gives you that feel, you get into it, it inspires you, you play with the dynamics, and you produce better music. The advantage of this particular keyboard versus others is also its disadvantage and its weakness. And that is that this keyboard is very minimalist. So because it's kind of produced for pianist-focused musicians, you're not going to find any buttons on the top, no controls to modify anything. You're basically just have your mod wheel and your pitch bending. And I think we still get the octave button, but I don't really think it's useful. And there's a master volume control. On the back, standard plugins for all pedals, 3 pedals. And the power's through USB, so you don't have to plug it into anything, those batteries or anything, just straight to the keyboard. The reason I say this is an advantage is because as a pianist, I don't really use all those buttons that I had on the native instrument keyboard. And so it kind of felt like unused features that I didn't really need. Extra clutter. This lets me focus just on what I want to focus. And of course I play other instruments other than piano, but my approach is very minimalist, very simple. And so this meets my needs. It may or may not meet yours, so just keep that in mind. So that's actually the weakness. There are no extra buttons, no looping shortcuts. Some of you may be used to that, so this may not be for you. So overall, easy to use, straightforward. It's just a keyboard basically. I really love the felt. The red felt they put here makes me feel like I'm playing a real piano. The weight's great. This is actually a metal frame, and that's very impressive. And I knew right away because when I got the giant box, which by the way is giant, I'm not exaggerating, it was heavy. I felt really bad for the delivery guy because I live on the 2nd floor and this guy had to carry this freaking heavy keyboard up the stairs. I struggled to bring it into my apartment, into my room to set up. It's that heavy. But for a keyboard that's not going to be moving a lot, and even if you do gig, I mean, it's doable, but it is pretty heavy, so keep that in mind. But the plus side of that is it's going to be durable. It's metal. I'm not worried about breaking this at all. This thing is very solid, so that's a plus for me. So overall, I really love this keyboard. I've been looking for something like this to expand my music and just allow me to get into the music creating itself, to not think about limitations. So as a pianist, this hits all the marks for me, and I've had it for, I don't know, 5-6 months at this point, and I haven't made a video because it's been so busy. But I'm gonna talk about now. I'm gonna play a little bit so you can, I mean, it's not reflective of the keyboard because whatever sound you load in is what you're gonna get. But in a later video, I want to explain my setup because I have this big Sony speaker because I like to hear the feedback with a little bit more depth. I have my computer right here loaded with all my instruments. So I will make a video on what I think the best pianist library is, from samples from a real Steinway. I'm always excited about that because I've gone through so many libraries. This is the best one in my opinion, and I'm gonna play a little bit with it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It's very just introductory impressions over 5 to 6 months. My next one's gonna go into depth on the setup itself, and then I'll do another attempt at showing you my different libraries. After hit or miss, what do I recommend? The most realistic sounding instruments are my favorite. And so I want to share that with you because it has been a struggle to find what works for me as a pianist that wants an orchestra, that wants all these little interesting things that make it just more real when you're recording. So enough of talking, let's play the Steinway, which I will talk about in another video, but I want to give you a little taste of it. So I want to show you the dynamics of the volume going from very low to high, and I'll play a variety of sounds so that you can get an impression of the amount of control that you get with a keyboard like this. So I'm going to do a standard Spanish Romantic music very Spanish Romantic passage that's very common. So let's go through that. You will hear the dynamics on that. So as you can see, even a very classical piece from the Romantic period, the dynamics are there for you to add that emotion that makes it your music, you playing it, you interpreting it, instead of the very standard, very monotoned, not as dynamic that another keyboard might give you. So again, if you're a pianist, even with other instruments, this is really going to help you be a lot more expressive without the need of so many buttons. Ready to go. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, I'm going to share more information on my favorite, and in my opinion, the best piano that you can use on your digital music production software. Thanks for watching.